So in other videos, we've talked about how you can have more than one accountability. You can fulfill more than one accountability. Someone say multiple roles on a Scrum team. One person could be Scrum Master developer, for example, or one person could be a product owner and a developer. What about having, so let's say a Scrum Master who has other responsibilities as part of their job besides being part of the Scrum team? So slightly different twist on multiple roles. It's not, hey, I'm a Scrum Master and a developer, but I'm 100% on this team. I maybe half my time is spent as being a Scrum Master for this team, and half my time is spent doing something else related to the Scrum team, like being a people manager or, you know, some other role. What do you guys think? Is that allowed? Is that okay? What advice would you give a person in that situation?
I'll pop in on this one first here, Jason. Yeah, you can do it, but I think there's a similar caution to the other videos that we've run as well. You're still potentially challenged with your focus. Who are you today? Are you that other role in the
Mm.
organization, or are you Scrum Master right now? I would say, depending upon the effectiveness and maturity of the teams that you're serving as a Scrum Master, you would want to approach that with caution. The last little thing I'll throw into the mix here is if your additional role happens to have any kind of a managerial component to it, in which your Scrum teams are starting to feel maybe I'm going to use the word threat because I don't know what else to say, but if you're managing them and they feel that, will you really be able to serve them as a servant leader? I think you can pull that off, but there might be a sense in which that could be potentially dangerous to their feeling of openness, courage, respect, commitment, the Scrum values at a core. So I give a little messy answer there. It can be done. Caution, focus, like usual.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like how do I come up with a new answer here? But I was thinking there are many cases where the product owner it's really a lie. That's not your product
Mm.
owner. You put that label on them, that's not who they are. What they actually are is a glorified requirements document creator, and they report directly to a person who actually owns the product.
Mm.
And so what some companies find is that the product owner might be, I don't know, the senior director of everything or director of product. Make up your own title. They are the ones that are calling the shots. They are the ones that are saying, "Hey, I want this done sooner than this." They're effectively acting as your product owner at that point. And so they are likely playing more than one role. And by failing to admit they're playing more than one role, it's actually hurting your team because we've put somebody in between these two, the Scrum team and the director of everything. And this person just doesn't have the authority to make decisions, and they don't have the context to answer good questions. And so they're always playing telephone. My guess is you might start to see surprises in what is produced by the team. The increments are like, wait, why did you make that? That clearly misses the mark because of a disconnect between this true product owner that goes by another name and what you got going on with the Scrum team configuration. So that happens so much, but it's so ignored because we're not looking at that as part of the Scrum team. So it's okay to do it that way. What I'd recommend is that person actually works more closely with the Scrum team and helps them be more effective.
I'll reach into my own personal experience for an answer to this question. I've actually been in this position where I've been a Scrum Master sort of part-time on a team, and then I've had other responsibilities to take care of. I'm thinking of one team in particular where I spent about 50 to 60% of my time with them as their Scrum Master, and then the other half of my time was with other clients, teaching classes, coaching clients, things like that. And that worked really well. I mean, your own self-perception's biased, but just looking, kind of back at how effective that team was, I think that worked out really well. But there are a couple key ingredients that went into that. When in doubt, I always go back to transparency. So we went into this eyes wide open, knowing that, hey, I'm not going to be a full-time Scrum Master. You're going to have about half my time, and we even set aside certain days where it's like I'm going to be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then some Tuesday mornings, never Thursday, things like that. We had really high degrees of communication. So even on those days where I was away, there was ways that the team could get a hold of me if there's something that they needed from me. We had relentless continuous improvement mindset, where every sprint retrospective, we were talking about these part-time roles because I wasn't the only one. So we didn't just kind of say, oh, this is how it is and leave it alone. We are constantly inspecting, how is this working out? How can we make it better? Hey, this was a problem this past sprint. How can we avoid that in the future? So I think if you approach it with that transparency, that continuous improvement mindset, I think it can work. Doesn't mean it'll work in all situations, but I think you can make it. I think you can make it happen if you do that with eyes wide open. Hey, thanks for watching that video. Did you like what you heard? If so, you're going to love our Scrum classes. See, not only do we talk about these ideas on YouTube, we're also professional Scrum trainers, and we'd love to have you one of our classes. So if you need to level up as a Scrum Master or a product owner, maybe you need to learn how to scale Scrum or combine Kanban or UX with Scrum, click the link in our description and you'll find a list of our upcoming classes.
If you like this video, just leave us a comment. And if you got some positive feedback, we'd love to hear it. And if you've got some negative feedback, well, we'd love to hear that too.